just hijack this conversation. We have a lot of parents and families that listen and, young student athletes. I got the chance to play with a guy at Syracuse who then went on to Notre Dame, David Lipko, who I know you played with. And just, from talking back and forth, got to learn more about like your story, your recruiting story. You come from this phenomenal family of lacrosse players. But I was always told, by him, and it's been in the media a little bit, you weren't like the most hyped up of your brothers. Reading your resume, Deemer, at the start, I mean, that's like as much of a dream as anyone, right? Wharton, two-time national champion. You have all these stats, but can you talk about what that journey was like growing up with a brother that's a household name, growing up also with a younger brother who was a huge recruit as well. So just wanted to talk about that quickly.
Yeah, I enjoy talking about it because I'm like really proud of the career that I ended up having after being such a late bloomer. Like I was at a PL junior event in January, and they have a player panel where we speak in front of a couple hundred parents and the kids that are there, and they asked everyone's recruiting story. And after I told mine, I had like all of like probably 30 parents come up to me, like mind blown that that was the case and how much it meant to their kids who are on the smaller side and are struggling with bigger kids that they're playing against. So yeah, I just my first day of high school, I was 4'10", 85 pounds, like not exaggerating one bit at all. I was just like the latest bloomer ever. And this is back when like playing in front of Petro on the sidelines and when I'm in seventh grade, like it was just the Wild West and there's no September 1st. So like all these ACC classes and IV everywhere, these spots were filled up by like the fall of your freshman year, pretty much when I was getting recruited. So that was extremely tough for me. Like I was 4'10" the fall of my freshman year, even my junior year, which is like pretty much every spot's taken by that point. I was like still like 5'4", like in the fall of my junior year. So like I honestly didn't even know if I was gonna play. Like I definitely was talented enough and skilled enough. That's where like you see all the stuff that I'm able to do, like behind the backs and like all that stuff. I would practice that stuff because I knew I had to have really good stick skills because I wasn't going to run by anyone. I couldn't beat anyone. I remember being guarded by Will Bowen in like fall, his Massachusetts team against my express team. He's like 6'4", and I was like literally 5 feet tall, like up to his kneecaps, playing in front of every D1 school in the country. So that was what I had. That was my high school experience. So I didn't really have any offers really until my senior year, going into my senior year. And I talked to Yale, BU, and luckily Notre Dame was like always a school that I wanted to end up at just naturally because of my older brother. And they like kind of weren't recruiting me, and that really pissed me off. And I used that as motivation when I was like training and all throughout high school, which is pretty funny. And I give Corrigan shit for that all the time. But yeah, no, luckily I hit a bit of a growth spurt going into my senior year that summer. And Notre Dame told me if I did a post grad year that I could become class 2019 and they'd open up a spot for me. So I think it's good that parents are asking about that. And I'm definitely really fortunate for that experience because I don't think I have the career that I have if I wasn't such a late bloomer. I think a lot of guys are getting recruited and they're these man childs when they're like 14, 15, and they think they have it all, like the whole skill set, and they're getting all these looks, and then they commit their September 1st, their junior year, and then they stop trying, they stop getting better, and then those are the guys who never play in college. Like I like the guys who are more the late bloomer, diamond in the rough guys who just continue to put their head down and grind and get better. Yeah, I really take pride in my recruiting story and the journey that I went through.
Yeah, Pat, it's really cool to hear. And again, like Steven said in the beginning, like to go on to do what you did and then to have such a late blooming recruiting story is truly amazing. And I think like if you were to unpack it, there's probably so many things from, what you were saying where, hey, you were the smallest guy on the field. So you're really, trying to work on your stick skills. You're trying to find other ways to, beat people or make an impact. What I'm really curious about is sometimes in recruiting, some guys early on are highly rated, some guys are underrated, but sometimes to your point about the late bloomer, some people are just maybe rated, like they just are what they are, but they're just size wise not there yet, or something, is not there yet. And when you're in that spot, like how did you have the mental resiliency to keep pushing, to keep staying, whether it's positive or motivated, or, what were your parents and your brothers saying to you, like, you were probably one of the few people that really believed in yourself like you do, so like, how did you stick with that?
Yeah, it was really tough, to be honest. A lot of things come to mind. Like I probably wouldn't be able to do it and keep pushing without the support of my family. But at times it felt like even my own family was like in the back of my head, I was like, did they even believe I could do this? But so it was like kind of a mental battle with myself the entire time to just keep pushing. And I knew that I was talented enough to play at the highest level. It was just a matter of time where I hit that growth spurt. But yeah, I think my dad is like honestly, my dad, all my siblings, my family is my biggest supporters, and they all knew how skilled and talented I was, and they knew that I have the competitive drive to be a great player. So, and I think another tough aspect of it was while all this was going down, Matt was like arguably the best player in the country for a few years at Notre Dame. So I'd step onto the field, and all these kids are like chirping me, telling me I'm a disgrace to my family, like never going to be as good as my brother. So I think that continued to motivate me as well. And that was like, it's pretty tough as like a high schooler. My brother's my idol, hearing that dreams to play at Notre Dame. And I'm like not doing as well and getting chirped for whatever. But yeah, I think it was a combination of that. And just my dad is just like one of the most competitive people on planet Earth, in my opinion. You, his like impact on us is reflected in how we play. I think he just grew up like extremely blue collar mentality, and I mentioned it to you guys when I joined the call before, but we love hockey, and you kind of see it reflect in our style of play, like forechecking, ground balls, like just playing as hard as possible. I think we just brought that mentality to lacrosse, and yeah, so a combination of a bunch of different things, but definitely wasn't easy, but I'm really fortunate that it happened.
Pat, I'm curious. I actually didn't